So, welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight, and as you can see, Alobar Jones is back, and it is our time to get our update on all things Astral. So, Alobar, what I always wanted to ask you, but I always forgot. How does that feel when you enter the Astral? In other words, how do you make sure that you're really there and you're not having an illusion or whatever?
Well, we're actually, and the dream state is the astral plane.
Yes.
But, you know, the difference between, say, lucid dreaming and actual astral projection is where you start from. So, you know, you've got half of your brain running in beta brainwave, which is between 14 and 28 electrical blips through the brain per second. Another part running in theta brainwave, which is between 4 and 7 electrical blips per second. And so it's kind of like your brain's got to rub the tummy and pat the head at the same time. And you can do that while you're asleep, when you become alert and go into beta brainwave while you're still dreaming in theta brainwave. Or you can start as alert and then go into theta brainwave. But you've asked a really, really poignant question. How do you know what you're doing is real or not? How do you know you're going, okay? And this brings us to the massive, massive, massive victory that our team has taken on. Okay, and so I'm going to use some words. This thing's known, so yeah, and so that's not like a surprise in an interview, but I'm going to use some words for the thing that we've taken down. Been known as the alum, from where we get the word Illuminati. Been called the Qlippoth in ancient Hebrew, which is spelled Qlippoth. In modern terms, it's known as the overlay or the false light matrix. All right. Now, what am I talking about here? Now, imagine you had a computer and you wanted to create a mimic of the world, a copy of the world, right? And then any of the humans who interact with the copy of that world, you get paid in spiritual terms, right? All right. Now, but also since you wrote the software for the mimic world, you can change the rules a little bit. And what we've found, I'm going to keep calling it the Qlippoth, but it's an astral mimic of our world. I haven't got good words for it. So when somebody calls up, let's say somebody astral projection, go, I want to speak to Jesus, or I want to speak to the god Ra, right? The Qlippoth version, or the false light version, will try and jump in straight away, right? And and there are some questions you can ask it. There are some tests you can put it through. But unless you have a filter, a way of separating between the false light and the true light version, then more often than not, the false light version wins. The false light version gets your attention, and then from your attention, it's able to harvest. It can also draw you into all sorts of silly stories.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying making sense?
Excuse me, I didn't hear that.
Is what I'm saying making sense?
Yes, it does make sense. So in other words, you have to make sure that you are not interacting with the imposter.
That's right. Exactly right. Exactly right. And there's lots of them. Like, I think of all the troublemakers upstairs, like Lucifer's number 1 and false light Jesus is number 2. Like this one, so many people connect with false light Jesus. And he performs, he makes you feel warm and fuzzy, but it doesn't help you. We'll just put it that way. It steers you off. So here's some of the things about this false light inversion world, or this, I'm going to keep calling it the Qlippoth because I just like that word. It's distinct. Nobody else is using it, right? So I know what I'm talking about here. The Qlippoth is a construct that has been, what's the word I'm looking for? Projected onto the Earth. It's not a natural occurrence, which is not a surprise from the way I've described it. However, you mentioned hermetic stuff before the beginning of our session, right? So I'm gonna talk about the fourth hermetic law, which is the law of opposites, or the law of duality, right? And what you have there is you have, opposites like soft and hard, or gentle and rough, or smooth and bumpy, or whatever those opposites are. There's a scale, right? And we're supposed to live in that environment and find new experiences through that, right? What the Qlippoth has also done, now what's often put in the fourth hermetic law is the battle between good and evil. But actually that's not required on Earth. We don't need that. It's not part of the original design of Earth. It's an imported piece of conditioning for the world we're living in. It's imported, an add-on to the environment. And the battle between good and evil isn't required here, and we would just prefer to not have it. They can take their battle between good and evil and take it to some other planet and enjoy it over there, or just stick it where the sun don't shine, but just get it away from us, right? And this is what our team has been working on for the last month, is we've been pulling the Qlippoth apart. We've been separating Earth from the Qlippoth for about a month. And each time we do it, we get further and further forward. There are three key elements that the Qlippoth is built out of, right? The Metatron's cube. Yep. Angels and demons are both a product of Metatron's cube. And the third one is a manipulation of time. And those three things together create the environment of the battle between good and evil. Yeah. And our team has been working very, very hard, and we've taken it down. We've removed it. That projection of Metatron's cube, which creates a bubble around the Earth that allows for false light and the battle between good and evil, is gone. It's gone. And with it is our team's objective for the entire year, to remove demonkind from the Earth. Because without the Qlippoth, without that overlay, without that add-on, they have no place here and they cannot exist. And so the first time we took it down for about 6 hours. The next time it went for about 12 hours. The third time it went for 4 days. And demonkind, turned liquid. Like they had no shape, no form, no volition. The material was still there, but they could not act in any way. And as of this morning, where we worked much, much harder on the element of time, there's none here, except there's just one left. There's none of them are left here. And I don't know I have no idea what the effects of that will be, but I'm really quite looking forward to the absence of evil in our world.
Oh. Yeah. Some people might say that you need the bad to experience, to, recognize the good. And
right.
Funny enough, we sometimes, I guess most of the time, we learn and make leaps forward in our personal development during really, really hard times, hard lessons and times that do not feel good at all. Yet, on the other hand, I would say that it is not really necessary. It doesn't have to be the way, because it's in the energy. You can feel it. You can. Nobody can tell me that you can't feel the difference between, let's say, a wonderful sunset and a battlefield.
Yeah, well, I've got lots to say about that. We must learn through suffering, right? And it's suffering is the reason Buddhism exists, so you can learn to live with suffering. In Hinduism, they call it karma, in which every time something bad happens, that's what they're counting, that's what they're paying attention to. And in Christianity, we call it sin. You're born with all of this suffering in you. Now you must go and live it out. And hopefully you won't live it out, right? Hopefully you'll avoid it. You won't live in sin, or you won't express your sins. You'll be able to hold them all in. And this is not a guarantee that you'll actually get out of the Qlippoth. It's actually the tether that holds you in. Because while demonkind thinks that you owe them something, you're never exiting the reincarnation cycle. You're never leaving. And the whole point is you come back again and again and again. And when you do that, you suffer. Something bad's going to happen in your life. And from that, you may or may not learn. But you know what's going to happen? Demonkind gets paid. They can cash in on your suffering. And that's the reason why the reincarnation cycle just goes forever. Because it's kind of silly. If you hurt someone's feelings, then you have to come back and live a whole nother life, during which you're guaranteed to hurt somebody else's feelings. Like it's a creditor's dream situation. And I asked somebody, it's one of my later interviews. I asked somebody how many people have actually got out of the karmic loop. You know what? How many? Lucifer said 13 have exited the karmic loop, the 12 disciples and the J-man himself. Nobody else has ever exited. Right? Everybody else is stuck here. So the idea that suffering is a lesson is just one of the false concepts that they've injected into religion, that the bad guys have injected into religion over time. Things like, you have to learn through suffering. You have to be kind to your enemies. And, everybody is really loving deep down. They just aren't expressing it right now. And if you're kind enough to them, then they'll see the light of it. But no. Demonkind is biologically incapable of that conversion. They're not capable. It's not ever, ever, ever going to happen. Yeah. And so living through suffering as a lesson is just something that feeds into demonkind's ruse.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But I can also understand why people might be stuck on that idea, because the fact is, some people really go through a transformation, via suffering. But I think we have been conditioned to believe that, and basically we support it, and with that belief, we make it possible.
Exactly. Look, and I think Osho's idea is if you've got a problem with heroin, right, it means you're trying to explore that. And so if you want to you should keep taking heroin until you've had enough. And when you've discovered what you want to learn, then you can go get out of it. That's a terrible way to learn things. Like that can take 10 or 20 years to get to the bottom of that one, during which, you're not only miserable yourself, but everyone around you is miserable on your behalf. Yeah. It's a dud. It's a dud ideal.
So when
go
ahead.
It's just what we're all conditioned to, like you're saying.
Yeah. So when you said demonkind gets paid, give me a little idea what that might look like.
Okay, so all right. So the astral planes, the substance it's a mix of ideas and emotion. I think the human body is able to split ideas and emotion because we have two CPUs. But up there, It's kind of the same thing, right? It's kind of merged together. And so when you, let's say I get angry, right? My body produces the emotion of anger. It's a substance there. Now, for anger demons, that's their favorite food. For suffering demons, for despair, for anxiety, for jealousy, for whatever. Like, there is a specific demon that loves that stuff. And if you're producing, and sometimes people go through a trauma and they never, ever get up. Some people get over it, and some people never, ever, ever get over it, right? What's happening there? So let's say I've been betrayed, yeah? And I go through a long, sad period where I've got to pick my life back up and get out there and live again, right? But I lost a lot, and it was a very, very difficult thing, right? Very normal for people. And what happens on the astral planes is that part of you goes to a betrayal dimension, a world where betrayal is the emotional fact of that area, right? And guess who lives there? Betrayal demons, right? Now, and so every time you feel betrayed, they're feeding. And if you're there and sometimes you can go there and not pick up one of these parasite bad guys, and sometimes you do. And that's the difference between being stuck in that emotion forever and getting over it. Because these demons, once they're in there, they'll just keep pushing that button. They'll keep stimulating you to feel betrayed all day, every day, morning till night, and after you go to bed too. Right? Because that's their favorite food. And, you know, and their masters demand more emotional payment constantly.
So in other words, they are looshing.
They're collecting loosh. Yeah, they're absolutely collecting loosh. And, you know, and when you think about sin or karma or suffering from Buddhism, like those three, they fit into that blueprint. They make sense. They work in that framework.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's taken me 10 or 15 years to really understand all of what's going on here. Yeah. It's taken a lot of experimentation to figure it all out.
Yeah. Recently you released a video that said we killed the god of alcohol again. And I thought, So how does that work? Because I remember distinctly that we had an interview shortly before that, and there you had killed him already. So walk us through that, please.
All right. So I think it's 5 times we've killed him now. So I don't know if I should be proud or embarrassed. I don't know. The first time I used to be an alcoholic. I used to work very hard in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So it's personal, this one. I know what he took away from me. And for me, I just wanted to stop him doing that to anybody else ever again. And so the first time we caught him, I got an interview with him. He didn't want to talk to me very much, but afterwards, Lucifer captured him and tortured him to death. The second time, and so one of his lieutenants was promoted immediately. The second time, we led a team out and we took out all of the officers and about 30% of the enlisted. Of the foot soldiers who were in people, and that took them a long time to, and they rebuilt their empire again, and it took them months and months and months. So but along the way, I think about 5 or 10% of alcoholics gave up the booze. I got a few emails telling me stories about people who just stopped drinking. I even have one of my students who was like that. He saw the video 3 months afterwards. He goes, "Oh, that's why I stopped drinking." Right, okay. And you know, the third time we cleared them all out and they repopulated again rather quickly. I think they could see what we were doing, and they regarded alcohol as quite valuable. So they spent a lot of resources recreating him.
Yeah.
This is the faction of the fourth, and so then we found hell, where everybody who drinks too much, they take a little bit of their spirit and they stick it in this case in alcohol's room, and the human circuit's over here. And as the energy goes through the human circuit, it then, with this missing bit here, it then goes into hell and then gets shorted out there, and then this cycle keeps going. But they use little captured parts of the spirit to build hell. And we spent easily a month on taking that place down. And then we went through and did the same procedure again with Al Ghul a fourth time. And then on the fifth time, we found his home dimension where he lives full time, where no humans ever seen it before. And so we went on a rampage and took that thing down as well. And since then, the hospitals are getting quiet on the weekends. The emergency rooms are getting quiet, so I hear. And the police are not half as busy, because the real drunks are not creating that drama anymore. But I think it takes a while for people who genuinely enjoy it to decide that it's not that good for them.
Okay, then we would definitely appreciate some support here in Germany against knife attacks.
Yeah, right. Is that how things are done over there?
Yeah, that is the newest trend here. There is not a day that goes by where somebody is attacked or stabbed down or stabbed to death by a migrant. Not a day goes by.
Yeah, well, they set that up.
Not reported in mainstream.
Because you can't say anything bad about migrants, can you? You're just not allowed to say bad things about migrants.
Yeah. But so keep us in your mind. Maybe you can do something about that. I would just briefly circle back to what you said. The false light, Jesus is one of those that is making a lot of fuss and trouble. So,
okay.
Here's my take. I do believe that there is a true creator. Yeah, I believe that.
Yep.
Yet at the same time, I also believe that the religions that we have here are a manifestation of the copy, meaning of it's a false light. It's an imposter.
Exactly.
And that goes for all religions. And that is why I dropped it all. So I would like to have your...
Well, look, let's imagine that religions actually teach you something about bending reality, right? Because all of the founders of these religions could perform miracles at will, right? And then I want you to think about 1 billion Christians, 1 billion Muslims, 1 billion Hindus, maybe 1 billion Buddhists, right? Where are the super wizards? Where are the miracle makers? Where are they? If you've got 1 billion people listening to your doctrine and not one of them can perform a miracle, I'm sorry, that doctrine's trash. That is absolute garbage, what they're teaching you. Because in the old days, in the ancient world, if you could understand magic and religion, and don't understand the founder of any religion as anything less than a master wizard. It's the only way to think of them, right? Because they have a hold on reality, and there were 33 miracles performed by Jesus that are recorded. Let's get that straight. Those are magical spells. Those are bending reality with his mind. Don't think of them any other way. And we would all love to do that. And Jesus says we're all capable of it, and we're probably capable of even more. Yeah, what else do I want to say? But the absence of those miracle makers just points to the fact that the doctrine is trash. And who could possibly want to destroy that knowledge except demonkind? who else would want to cripple humanity in that way except demonkind? You know, and if you want to run a planet, you need a technological edge over the locals, right? And in the case of Earth, it's black magic. And if we understood white magic well enough, we might do something about the black magic. But so far, all of that white magic's been swept under the rug. You know, it's called the occult. It's called hidden because we have to really dig and fossick to find anything useful. You know, whereas religion should be serving it to us on a plate.
Yeah, but
So
that
no, I think they've been subverted. Yeah.
Yeah, but that would mean, you know, I'm totally convinced that all these movies and TV series that feature, you know, people appearing here that all of a sudden go online, they have certain powers, they all have different powers. One can, you know, levitate, the other can move things with his mind or whatever it might be. I don't think that it is just yeah, funny entertainment. I think there is an underlying message, but religion, in my mind, here, as it presents itself here, has been designed to keep us down, to never ever get into contact with what and who we really are.
Well, look,
Because
you know, you can.
then it's game over.
Well, you know who I met recently who I met recently. See, I was doing an exorcism, which is my day job. It's really good for the mentally ill or the addicted. It's really good. I can't overstress that. And Beelzebub, the primary intelligence Beelzebub, came through and tried to tell me to stop doing what I was doing. And I told him, no, thanks for your opinion, bye. His Lucifer's girlfriend, Pistis Sophia, or the dark feminine, came through and tried to do the same thing, trying to talk me out of doing what I'm doing. I said no. Satan came through and did the same thing. I said no. Then Metatron, who is the Lord of Angels and Demons, he came through. And think of the chain of command here. Like, you know, I think he'd call Beelzebub a colonel, and then Pistis Sophia a one-star general, the four-star general Satan, then Metatron, who's the overlord of the whole thing. And then when I told Metatron where to go, guess who came through? A being called Nabadon. But Nabadon didn't identify himself as Nabadon first. He says, I am Jesus, I am the light, I am the way. So if you can figure out exactly who false light Jesus is, which side he's on, like, you know, it makes it quite clear and quite simple to understand how religion got bent and how different religious leaders meet ungood ends. You know, how they finish badly if they connect to the wrong Jesus.
The copy.
The copy.
The inverted copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that has a very tragic element because a lot of people are expecting to be saved by Jesus. So do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing about it, right? Here's the thing about it. When you talk to demons, right, they redefine words whenever they want. I'll save you from what? From eternity of having, I'll save you from having to ever do anything again except be my slave. I'll save you from any other emotion except the torment that I give you, right? This is the way they think. These guys would be gajillion-dollar an hour lawyers because they are just so incredibly full of it. Like every conversation you have with them is bent, is warped. Like they would say, we will save you But what does saving mean? It means trap to them. And so, you know, people will be sorry. I also say, I asked Lucifer how many people made it out of the trap that they set here, and he said there's only 13. Only 13 that people have ever made it. The 12 disciples and the J-man.
Yeah, but I think
Nobody
that is a
leaves.
lie.
Nobody
I
leaves
don't
this.
believe that. I don't believe that it was just 13. And but
Well,
okay, I'm not discounting that he said that. It's just that
whether or not he was being truthful. Yeah,
yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. Nobody believes in to tell the truth all the time. But I think, or even much, I should say, but it is laughable how few are even candidates to have exited this system.
So I'm just thinking, okay, let's say Jesus and his disciples are the only ones. Let's say, for argument's sake, that's true.
Yeah, fair enough.
They have left the wheel. And
Yeah.
so are they then concerned about this realm here at all? Or is that another illusion that is being sold with the inverted copy?
Well, you see, there is a natural world and an overlaid world there, and they look so similar. The hologram's so good, like it's difficult to tell the difference. And I think those guys, because compassion, because like having an open heart is a requirement to get to going where they go, right? I would say that they continue to exist in the original, in the unblemished version of reality, and then try to pull people out of the Qlippoth or show them the way out of the Qlippoth. So they are still around. Like, you know, I have spoken to the genuine versions.
Okay, so you would say they are working to get people out of this
Well,
inverted version.
well, look, for those for those people who've done a lot of meditation, there's a space called the space outside of time, or the or no time or untime. It has some of those sorts of names, and it has a few. Right? But what they're actually talking about is the place outside the Qlippoth. You see, Qlippoth infects time in its own special way. And you know how most people always feel hurried. They feel they don't feel smooth, or that they don't feel comfortable in the way that events play out, and things can be a bit janky or a bit hinky when they as they go through, as they try to get everything done. And there's just never enough time. Everybody's in a rush. It's always and well, that's not how original time flows. That is overlay time. That is artificed time. But you know, in the space outside of time, it's actually a really flowing and gentle thing. And what one of the side effects of pushing evil out the door is that time flows differently. So, and I'll use another example because I may not be saying that very, very well. You know, when you drive into a new town or a place you've never been before, right? Your time subjectively slows down. Like, you're observing everything, you're drinking in the sights, you're looking at things, you're trying to understand it all. And this is like and this is where time slows down for your benefit so that you can observe it, time being a subjective thing. But when you drive the same way to work every day, you can not remember that half an hour you spent in the car because you've seen all the sights, you've done it all, and time just, it's like nothing happened. There's no time was expended between when you left the house and when you arrived, but there's 30 minutes on the clock, even though subjectively it was a nothing. Time does not flow evenly for everybody. It's much more elastic and malleable than most people would give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's a very subjective thing. And I think the Qlippoth has tried to, something that was flexible and helpful, they've tried to make more rigid and less helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were very good at that, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm explaining this well, because these are concepts that are, you know, difficult for me to put into words.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
There are situations and events, especially if it's something that not everybody is dealing with on a daily basis, where you're simply out of words.
Yeah, look, yeah, English falls short of it for a lot of the things we're trying to do, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, but what I was aiming at, if let's say do you think they are still working on getting the real gang? Yeah. So these 13, do you think they are still working on getting other people out here? Because and that is why I think that is a lie, that only 13 have left. Because if that is true, then they are not very successful.
No,
Which means
and there's a
either,
good reason for that. There's a
yeah,
good reason for that, right?
okay.
Now, one of the features of natural time as opposed to artificed time, right? So when we go to the space outside of time, or to natural time, as I think I'm going to start calling it, you can't take any demons there. Demons cannot exist in that realm, right? And so when you think about the Qlippoth as an add-on, as an addition to the original structure of Earth, then the bad guys can only exist in the Qlippoth. And, you know, those Jesus and his 12 spent so much time getting out of the place, the last thing they're going to do is set foot in it again. It's like all you got to do is hurt somebody's feelings and you're stuck there, and you got to go through the cycle all over again. Like it's a trap as well. And so there's not that many people who are familiar with natural time. But, you know, the more time you spend in nature, the more time you spend in natural settings, the more likely you are to find natural time. Whereas if you go into the center of the city and get into the hustle and bustle, you're definitely living in a Qlippoth environment. Does that help? Does that help explain things at all?
It definitely helps, because we have, and don't get me wrong, I like technology. Yeah, I'm technology.
There's plenty of good things to say about it, except the direction it's been taken right now. Like the things that they want to do with it are just
But funny enough, the more technology we have in our hands, let's say our dishwashers, our washing machines, and what have you, it has freed up so much time. Yeah. But how are we using this time? To watch another Netflix movie?
Yeah, to scroll through whichever Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, and at the same time, while humanity has gained, you know, a lot more free time through that type of technology, all you hear from people is, I don't have time. I don't have time. Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. And that is exactly the proof that there is an artificial overlay. How can you be so stressed if you don't have to drag your laundry to the lake or to the river? Yeah, just
and spend the next 6 hours beating it clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Well said. Well said. Like, but it is. Whereas objectively, we should have heaps more playtime and everything should be easier to do. Like the Qlippoth is just saying, it will not let you feel that. You always feel rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could it be This is just, yeah, let's say, high octane speculation.
Go for it.
Could it be that this feeling of us being rushed, there is a connection that those masters and rulers of the Qlippoth know that their time is over?
Well,
Or it's
the
at
fear,
least.
the feeling rushed is like it's one of the distortions that they love, right? Because when you're in a hurry, you don't think things through, you just make bad decisions, right? When you're feeling anxious, you'll just jump on a decision rather than really weighing it or contemplating it properly. But if you're not in a hurry, if you're really just doing things as slowly and carefully as they need to be done, then you're much less likely to make a mistake. And that's what they live off. Like, they want you to make mistakes. They want you to make somebody angry. They want you to disappoint somebody. They want you to run around like a chicken with no head. Right? That's because in those situations, you're stressed, and their fear, the anxiety, and the pressure is something they can feed off. And it's like they've created one artifice to push you towards the other group who are pushing you back. And no wonder you feel so all the time, particularly if you live in a big city.
Yeah. And that is why I moved out of I'm still in a city. It's not that I live in a cabin in a wood or something.
Yeah, I'm getting
But
close. I'm getting really close to going out to that
yeah,
cabin in the woods.
but it's very on the outskirts, and it's yeah, pretty rural here. So I just couldn't take it anymore. But that has been years ago, and then I made the decision, no, I go to the countryside.
I'll go live somewhere quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And especially now with all the, developments that are going on here. Here, it's basically just, yeah, you have no migrants here up to now.
All right. Yeah.
So it's a very coherent, mass of people.
Well, look, and everybody's running on the same basic ideas. I can understand how unsettling it must be to have these scores and scores of men who've got nothing to do and nobody wants to talk to them. Like, nobody wants to give them jobs. Nobody wants to work with them. And the way that, I mean, Germany's a constructive country. It's like it's trying to build something, but I wonder if a lot of those countries are actually trying to do that. Actually trying to move. The general population is really trying to move forward. Anyway, I don't know enough about it to really say for sure, but like the West, they did this 20, 30 years ago by inviting Turkish people into Holland, and everybody hated them. And so they thought this experiment was a total failure. Let's do it everywhere. Let's do that. And this is just, and it's because they're just trying to create stress and mayhem. They want society to collapse, and they're working damn hard to make it happen. They do realize that they don't have very long left. And one of the things about taking out these demons is that the guys at the top, the Illuminati, or how I said, like, one of the names of the Qlippoth is the Alum. Well, one of the things we took down was the bloodline souls are the ones that are feeding the Qlippoth. They're the ones who are empowering the Qlippoth. All of the energy that's required to keep it running, it's the illumined ones, or the Alum loyal ones, whose souls have been captured to keep the thing moving. And that's why those bloodlines are so important, because Demons don't make deals with people, they make deals with blood. Because when that same blood can be running in 100 people, and this is the kind of lawyering that they really, really like, is that once one person makes an agreement, they've actually sold out their entire clan. And neither the clan nor them know it until it's too late. But those bloodlines are so important because without the Qlippoth, without the alum, it means that they are unable to stay here. And that's what we've taken down. So what it means is those guys at the top, those head honchos, the politicians, the captains of industry, all the guys who've joined the Masonic lodges, what makes them special, the technology that they use is demonic. And without the demons here, their technology is gone, useless. And so these guys, instead of somebody being mean to people who has an army of demons at their disposal, who can scare people off, who can put the fear into people, who can manipulate situations on their behalf, since their support group is gone, the chances that the collaborators can actually keep their seat in power just reduces so badly. Right? You know, I'm wondering, you know, I'm wondering how long it will take for the alum loyal or the illumined ones to collapse without their non-physical allies.
Mm.
Yeah, like, and that's the goal of what we've been doing.
Mm. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't take a lot. I'm not saying it's all hunky-dory now after the
No.
EU elections, but I had to smile when, you know, a couple of hours later, Macron called for snap elections, and then in Belgium, the prime minister stepped down, and on and on. So yeah, they are irritated, definitely. Which doesn't mean everything is okay now.
Not yet,
Not yet,
but
yeah, but
the tide's turning against them, isn't it?
yeah, but I had a smile from here to there.
Yeah, you know, like they're the people they find for these jobs are just ridiculous human beings, you know.
Yeah, you know, when I think of some of our so-called ministers, my goodness, you
Yeah, where do
know,
they dig these guys up?
yeah,
See,
it's like our Minister for Foreign Affairs. My goodness, she can't even string two sentences together. And on top of it, she sometimes acts like an elephant in a china store, you know, on the diplomatic field. Yeah. And I don't even think she has a grasp what diplomacy really means. But that is due to her ideological background. And you know how some lefties have this urge to lecture the entire world, and everybody has to agree to their point of view. And this is the only way to do it, and no debate. And then, yeah, but
they don't understand. They don't understand like what they're stepping into is the ugliest parts of Russian communism or German Nazism. Like there is one opinion to have, and that's that. You know, like this is what, you know, or Chinese communism. Like all of these, there's only one opinion to have, and that living within that one opinion is not the paradise that they thought they're trying to create. Which I hope is true of them. I hope they actually believe some of the things they say. I wonder sometimes, you know,
yeah,
but that they actually but that they're actually taking the world on a road to extreme misery, and they don't get it.
yeah. They think they make everything very, very versatile. No, they don't.
The
Yeah.
opposite is true.
And at the end of the day, what it is really is corporate slavery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
So
Well,
to wrap this up, Alobar, do you have any data if, yeah, let's say Loosh grids that you took out, do they grow back? Can they recuperate
well, look,
or?
and this is why we've hit it 5 times in the last month. You
Mhm.
know, like first time we didn't manage to take it down. The second time we took it down for 6 hours. The third time we took it down for 12 hours. The fourth time we took it down for 4 days, and the fifth time the impacts were different, and we're hoping they stick. But since we're advancing so far into their territory and taking such critical assets off them, I think we're going to keep, even if this isn't the one where we succeed, we're going to keep pushing until we do. And if we're this close to it all collapsing, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Like we're doing, the Qlippoth has not been taken down for a single day since it was built.
Mhm.
And I don't know how far back those Illuminati families go, but we can track them as far back as Sumeria. Like they're that ancient and they're that protected by demonkind. They seem to rise to the top no matter what. But
Yeah, because they are very proud of their heritage, and especially with the so-called royal families. And what it boils down to is that their descendants, that is at least what they say. If that is true, is a whole different story. But they are very proud that they are descendants of the Nephilim.
yeah, yeah, and that dark religion that they love so much has been carrying them for the longest time. And we're dismantling some of its key blocks.
Mm.
Like some of the key pieces we're dismantling. We're going to keep working. I don't know if I wonder. I wonder if this is the moment or if it's the next time or the next time we have to take it down. But, like just so excited by how far we're getting with it. It's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. But, it's towards the end of June. And if my calculations are correct, then the Qlippoth will be down for a week or two minimum. And we have to wait to see what they do to repair it so that then we can take those assets off them as well.
Mhm.
But it's a device that's ancient, and I think everybody's forgotten exactly how it works. Those guys included. It's just been part of the wallpaper for so long. So it takes them time to rebuild these things, if they even can.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's hard to get my head around, which way it's gonna go. But our team feels as though we're under no further threat from these guys whatsoever. That they really don't have enough power left to threaten us even slightly. And we were so confident that we've taken it down for good that we had a meeting where we looked at what our priorities will be next. And so I'm just releasing a video about that.
Mhm. Do
Yeah,
you or people in your group, do they have visions?
yeah, everybody.
Everybody.
It's
Okay.
about look, it's about a recruit for quality, not quantity. And so everybody's done 10, 20,000 hours of astral projection,
Mhm.
minimum. Some of them more. Everybody has a specialization. Some people mine's about demons. Some people have specializations in the life between lives and life planning and predicting that. Others are about body systems. We have some incredible medical intuitives there. Like everybody has their, and one of them's really, really into alien politics and is using, and blah, 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 blah. She has duplicates of herself that work for different secret space programs. And she's found a way to talk to them all in all of those. Like the intel we get out of there is boggling, but it fits so perfectly to what we do know. But all of these different skills come together and really make things work.
Mhm.
Yep.
I asked because just the last couple of days, here in Germany, one seer that is very popular is Alois Erlmeyer. He had a lot to say about the developments leading to World War III. And we have contemporary seers here as well,
Of course.
who obviously exchange data, compare notes, and then compare what they are seeing to what he wrote about.
Oh, okay.
And I was just thinking, because there was one particular seer, it didn't seem to be a very good experience for her, meaning she wakes up in the middle of the night, has the impression she has a very high fever, is completely wet, sweating like crazy. Yeah, and then the vision starts. And okay, the fever then recedes after the vision is over, but it sounds really uncomfortable. Have you ever had experiences like that?
Well, look, and in that case, she's not in control of the visions that she's been given, so she's not. Yeah, and for our teams, we all have control over what we're looking at, which questions we're answering, where it's going to go. Yeah, we direct the dream that we're conscious. Anyway, we're conscious. Half our brain's conscious, and half our brain's running a dream or running in dream state, and we're able to direct the dream through that and answer the questions that we want to answer. So, like for the last mission, our team, we literally spent an hour looking at time and the way that the Qlippoth handles time to try and figure out how we can dismantle it. But we had to sit there and stare at it and understand each of the moving parts bit by bit. Yeah, it was quite a challenge.
And funny that you say that, because now I'm not doubting that she has visions, but she also says she gets them from Metatron. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Microphone, come on, work again, microphone.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I hear you again.
All right, cool. Okay. No, there's another guy who channels Metatron regularly. He's called Sam the Illusionist. And he's got like 50,000 or 100,000 followers. But every single video, it just sounds like Chicken Little, like the sky is falling, everything's about to be a disaster. Like a comet's going to hit, like, plane's going to crash, like what World War III, whatever it is he's saying. But what Metatron's trying to do is he's trying to get us, our imaginations, involved in that potential reality, and he wants us to attract that manifestation. Right? He's trying to use us to do his bidding, and he's been very, very good at it for a very long time.
Yeah, she's convinced that Metatron is the voice of God.
Which God?
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And
I actually did a video about Metatron. It's called Calling Out Metatron. And it asks some questions that are in common theology that everybody should be able to put together, but nobody can. It's not commonly done.
Yeah. That was and that is why I asked, because I had a feeling that these negative experiences, yeah, the physical unease during those visions, I had a feeling that that had something to do with Metatron, and that is why I asked you if anybody in your group or you yourself have these very weird experiences and feeling unwell during visions.
For most of us, we make magic's become an everyday thing. Like for most of us, like we've been at it so long, like, yeah, cook some toast, cast a spell, make sure the dog's been fed. Like that's kind of it that day, you know. Like, it's this is,
Cook the
and
eggs,
so
guys,
like
feed the dog.
yeah, no, this is just how we roll. Like this is, and everybody who's been doing it this long, this is like second nature to them. And so,
And now you are gone again. It's a silent movie. Silent movie.
for real,
Yeah,
yeah,
now you're back. Now you're back.
yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, no, everybody, it's so second nature for everybody that when it comes to these really big earth bridging events, like we're able to, as a team, we're able to tackle it really, really well. A lot of us have tried to do it solo, but have not been have had limited success. You know? But the amount of quanta or the amount of mental force that we can bring to bear is huge. And we've all been doing it for a few years now. So like we've got a few tricks up our sleeves, and we know how the bad guys behave. So we're usually 2 steps ahead of them too. Like we've really got this figured out. So either we're all in our shared fantasy land, or we're actually making a difference in the world. And I wasn't sure until I started getting these messages through that people are spontaneously quitting drinking because of the attacks we were making on the god of alcohol. Like it's so far out there, you know. But of course, the real answer to what's going on in the world had to be far, far out there, because they hide it. It's called the occult because that means hidden, right? And it just means that the real technology, the real skills that they want, that you would need to take them out of the game, are buried so deep that nobody even knows what they are. Nobody even talks about them anymore. Right?
Yeah, I wish you and your team all the best. And we will definitely stay in touch, Alobar.
Lovely.
Yeah. And yeah, guys, that was it. Night Flight for today.
Right.
And
thanks, everybody. Yeah, I run courses, so please check out my website, alobarjones.com.
And all the links will be in the description box.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good to see you, Judith. Good to see you again.
Okay. So bye-bye, everybody. Until next time.